All right, so vlog. Something which is actually I've been thinking about for a while, but hasn't, in fact, arguably since I started this channel, even as in its original form as Kaz's Sui, I think that I just haven't actually talked about this yet. Maybe I mentioned it in one of the vlogs in the days when this was either mostly or near or well entirely or near entirely a vlog channel that I pretty much want to remain separate from this channel, at least in that myself as me in other contexts. For instance, I have another YouTube channel. In fact, it has close to 100 subscribers somehow. But the thing is, I want to keep this channel. One important feature, I think, is that I want to keep this channel, if I'm able, as pretty much just the ideas and the personality of the individual doing it. I've noticed that there are other channels doing something similar to this, although I don't know how many of them are doing it in the context of intellectual discourse. I've certainly noticed a large number of channels. For instance, once in a while when I get in the mood, I shall view the different videos on one political topic or another, which, by the way, that's what news is going to be about once I figure that out, which, by the way, is coming along, although slowly. Although I think that series will certainly happen. I can say that much. It will happen. If I can't say much else about it yet, not because I'm being secretive, but because there isn't much else to say, then so be it. But I can at least say that it will happen. All right. So the thing is, I've noticed that some of these political channels will do something similar to me. Although I think there's reasons at least. Well, I might be wrong on this, but I think their reasons most likely have more to do with the fact that people in political issues on both sides, whatever the sides may be, or on all several sides, if there is such in that example, can get very angry about whatever it is. Even some things which other people outside of the issue may consider silly, although sometimes it's not that. Anyways, people can get very angry about this, so I can understand how some might want to go with anonymity, although sometimes that's the question at hand, such as the different people arguing for security versus individual freedom. One example would be privacy on the internet, whether or not it should be legal for the government to simply click a button and say, oh, that's who you are, okay. That's who this anonymous person is who's saying stuff the government doesn't like. All right, no. Save it for news. That actually might be the first topic, now that I think about it. Although I think it's kind of obvious where my stance on that is. Here. There's a whole bunch of these little green things that fall off of the trees. So I thought I should, well, whatever. At this point, you should trust it's not stock footage. But just in case, not that stock footage is lower quality. Most likely the best way to find out if it's stock footage is if it looks like summer and it's winter. That's mainly because I don't want to go outside when it's -4. So anyways, not stock footage. Here's how you know. There you go. Just threw a whole bunch of little green things into the water. Anyways, so I want to leave this channel as pretty much just me. It's not about me as a person, it's about me as a mind, as a self, more than an individual with past events. Although I can be pretty sure that I don't have any direct, like, political angry, thankfully no, like, medieval style, but no direct enemies as far as I can tell. I don't have anyone who dislikes me more than a tiny bit, as far, I hope. But even so, I want to leave this channel as ideas being considered from the point of view of an individual and not much else. As soon as it becomes me, it becomes with precedent to who I am and what I've done in the past. Not to say that I've done anything really crazy, but I haven't gone and robbed any banks. But it is to say more along the lines of that this channel is about, how do I put this? It's about the ideas, I guess is what I can say. As soon as you know the individual behind it, you at least partly, even if purely unintentionally and subconsciously, you end up changing your view more than a tiny bit on the basis of who's giving the video. Not always in such an awful manner, such as, oh, you would say that you're an X, you're a white male, or a other than white male. But the thing is, once you know the individual, you start viewing it in the context of that person. I'm hoping to keep this at least mostly intellectual. Although you've seen my hand, I've admitted that I am both white and male, in case you couldn't tell already. But I still want to keep this mostly intellectual, even just because if inevitably at some point you were going to see my hand without me knowing, and that's a little more inevitable. Can't really do much about it, but well, whatever. The thing is, inevitably you're going to see my hand, or, well, you could tell from pretty early on my voice, I think, but inevitably it was going to be given away. So I want to, I'm not hiding these things. I'm not hiding who I am as much as attempting to keep it as, yes, I am a human being who has views and has likely views for hypocritical reasons, but who attempts, at least, especially within the context of this channel, attempts to view them in a purely intellectual means. Moving the camera without pausing it, because there's a duck. Alright, yeah, sure, duck, just move right out of my angle as soon as I move it again. Alright, oh yeah, here, proof that it's not stock footage. This one should be more obvious, given I've got a whole lot of these green suckers. There you go. So, inevitably, it was going to happen that you were going to find out some context about me. And in fact, you're probably going to find out more context about me the longer this goes on, just from things happening. But I want to attempt to keep it, as I've probably repeated enough times at this point, I want to keep this as simply intellectual and simply based on self rather than the person, I guess, is the best way I can put this. I want to base it on who I am, not why I am who I am, my experiences, my past, my relationships, my genetics. I want to avoid all of those such reasons for things, at least in those who discuss it. Not just for me, though, although at some point I'm wanting to connect these discussions, at least have some discussions in general, with other individuals, perhaps other people who also have their own channels, although they can go as more or less private as they want to. I think that within the context of my own channel, I'll probably just go with, in the discussions, which you'll likely hear, which, by the way, that's one of the uses of stock footage, that I'll just, I'll probably Skype them or something like that and then just play stock footage over it so that you're not just looking at like a blank screen or my logo or something like that. Which, by the way, I don't know if I brought that up, but that's Beowulf slaying the dragon. Which isn't that obscure once you know what it is, but it's still kind of obscure. I like the image anyways. And then the other one, which you see as the generalized outro, is a painting, I believe by the same author, of Beowulf after he slayed the dragon and the dragon mortally wounded him, which, I mean, supposedly, I think that's like I think that's like an hour after the first one, where he does not look like an old man, even though, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's the same painter. But anyways, that's Beowulf telling, I forgot who, that he should be the new king of his kingdom. Anyways, so the thing is, I'll probably just within these discussions use the individual's username. That said, I know a lot of people have their real names as their username, but I want to avoid, I'm going to treat it as if they named themselves John Doe on their channel. So we'll go with that example. I'm discussing I'm discussing, news. That's a show that might end up going with discussions. I'm discussing a news article with another individual. Their real name is John Doe, and their channel name is John Doe News Discusser. Then I'm not going to try and hide it and go with just call him the Discusser or something like that. What do you think about this, Discusser? I'll probably just go with John or Mr. Doe or something like that. But I want to preface that I'm not calling them that name in reference to their real name, but in reference to the individual they present on their channel, which is hopefully the individual they present to others, but it isn't because of their life experiences. It is because this is the individual who can intellectually think about things. As a real individual, I don't always consider my views and think, oh, that is the reasoning I have for thinking this thing. Oftentimes I'll just think like, oh, that thing in my past tells me that this is the right thing to believe. That's why I believe it. Or not even thinking through that, just thinking of that unconsciously. And then having biases because of that belief, because of those experiences. And I want to try and set those aside from this channel. All right. I was probably crazy redundant, and maybe this video could have taken 3 minutes, but 12 minutes is not 20 minutes, and these videos have been like 25 with less to say in the past. So yeah, I'm considering this video a success, especially since it's probably long overdue at this point. So yes. Oh yeah, actually, just one thing to preface. Earlier I said that if it looks like summer, even though it's winter, then you can assume it's stock footage. That's not necessarily. I'm still figuring out how much I want to upload these, because when it comes to certain times of the year are very busy for me in real life. So I don't know if it'll become impossible to make videos. I've certainly made it a lot simpler than the vlogs. And a lot more worthwhile, because I'm not just saying like, oh, I've done nothing for 20 minutes and then editing that on my phone, which takes 4 hours, and like deleting all of my things on my phone to do it, so I can save space, so I can get space for it. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm doing it. The whole process probably takes like 3 hours for a 20-minute video, and that includes recording, editing, rendering, and uploading. But the thing is, it's still probably, the number of videos will probably still go down in these really busy points in time. So what I'm thinking though is that when it hits that time, or even the time around such times when I have less time but still a certain amount of time. Right now I have a lot of time. So I'm thinking that if I upload these as I make them, I'll start uploading like 1 or 2 a day. And that'll be crazy. So as a result, I'll end up having a crazy number of videos, and then it'll start coming to a busy time, and I'll have like a video every other day, and then it'll hit the busy time, and it'll be like 3 weeks of no videos. But I'm thinking if I buffer this a little bit, although I'm still trying to figure out how to, that I won't hit that a video every other day or no videos for 3 weeks period like I did even with the vlogs. That's actually what prompted the super vlog, that I just couldn't keep up with the everyday thing. So I want to, once I figure out how I'm going to layer these out, because they don't get recorded in any kind of, like, oh, I'm going to make 4 videos today. It's just like I have an idea. The next time I can conveniently record it, I do. So the thing is, once I figure out what order I want, not what order, but when I want to upload these, how many, probably, I'm thinking that like one every 3 days is the ideal right now. So that way I can always have a buffer. But the thing is, if I do that once every 3 days even, although right now it's more like once a week, even though I have a couple uploaded that are just private, the thing is, if I do that once every 3 days thing, what I'm thinking about is that I'm going to have a huge buffer. So even though I'll probably lose the buffer once I hit that busy or even semi-busy time, given I'll probably make like one video a week in that busy time if I'm lucky, and I'll probably make like 2 in that semi-busy time. So that buffer is going to go away in that time, but I'm still thinking that there's probably going to be at least a moderate chunk of the next winter which is looking a lot like either summer or fall. So I don't know how to handle that. I don't want to upload these too late. Like I think at like maybe at 3-month point, that's just like, oh, at that point I should have just not even waste my time maybe. But on the other hand, if I do this, if I do end up going with a stable pretty much every 3 days thing, which I think I can support. Again, I'm trying to avoid the whole like sticking to a hard, solid routine because it ruins the whole thing. But I think I can stick to this just because the buffer is so large that what I mainly will end up doing is like recording 3 of them, and then I'll just have to remember, not only remember, but get the chance to get on my laptop, since you can't unprivatize videos on your phone because I guess YouTube just doesn't like making things easy. Anyway, so getting to my laptop, getting to someone with Wi-Fi, and unprivatizing those suckers, I think I can stick to that every 3 days thing. So that's probably what it's going to be by the time you watch this video, because this video is going to the end of the buffer, which is, well, it looks crazy long right now, but since a lot of these videos are filmed in several parts, I'm probably going to edit it all up, and it's like, oh, 4 videos. Okay. It's not like it was 30, it's not like it took up half of my desktop. So yeah, and this video is almost 20 minutes now. All right, well, I thought I'd explain these few things. So I guess this video will be called, although you probably know this already, something along the lines of clarification, or clarifications, given that's what it was pretty much. So yeah, enjoy the dogs. All right, so I suppose he's saying goodbye for us.